guys, so today I want to show you all the easiest way possible to tie a humpy. This is a Royal Humpy. I think they're easier to tie than a regular humpy, only because you don't have to have as long as elk hair fibers. So yeah, so let's get to it. I tied this fly right here and also a lot of colors, just to let you know. I tied everything from this olive color to red, orange, like we're about to tie right now, to purple. So, but yeah, so let's try it out. Okay, so the thread I'm going to be using for this fly is UTC burnt orange in 70. And I'm just going to start it right at the eye of the hook and then work my way back to about the halfway point and then about halfway back to where you started. Let me come in here and trim that off. And now for the wing, I'm going to be using calf body hair. I think this stuff right here produces a much better wing than calf tail. It's easier to line up, it's easier to stack, you know, much better. I will use calf tail though for parachute flies. So I'm going to do about just shy the length of the hook. And then just 1, 2, don't let go. And then put a bunch of turns right on top of each other, really tighten it down. And then come in here and let go of the back. Let go of the back. And then draw all these fibers back really tight. And then put a couple turns right in the front. By a couple, I mean you want to really build a little small head right behind the wing. And that's going to cause it to stick straight up. And just pull it forward just a little bit, just to separate the fibers from the ones that you're going to cut away. And come in here with some serrated all-purpose scissors if you have them. If you're not, you can use your whatever arrowhead or arrow tipped, whatever you want. And then once you cut all those away, kind of get everything off your vise. And then I'll come in with my micro tip scissors and just spin the fly on the vise and kind of clean up all these loose feathers, or loose fibers. Okay. Just blow it off real quick. And don't worry about tying in those loose ends, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of split these fibers down the middle. Sometimes you might need to use your scissors to find that point where you split them. And then once you split them, just come on in here and just post them up really tight. And you want to post these really well because you're gonna put a lot on this fly. But in my opinion, this is the best way to tie this fly, especially if you're a beginner. It's, a lot of beginners get hesitant about tying humpies. It's one of the flies that they'll try not to tie, but instead they'll buy them at the fly shop. Nothing wrong with that, but they're not as hard as people make them seem. And then kind of touch and turns all the way to the back of the hook, right there where you're right at the barb. And I'm going to use moose mane. This is from Jesse Brown's. This is moose mane. These are just moose mane fibers. And I'm going to grab about a dozen of these. Pull them out. They're pretty long. What you'll need to do is just get your biggest hair stacker. So I got this Renzetti Magnum. Whatever you got will work though. I got one that's broken. There we go. And get them all in there. Let them fall to the bottom. Couple light taps, and see how they're sticking out really heavy. As soon as you hit them, hit the bottom, bring them back out. Grab the ends, so you can see like how I have them right there. So I have all the pointy ends right here. I'm just gonna come in and I'm gonna cut these right there, right over my wastebasket there, and then we'll stack them one more time. A real stack this time. Okay, come in here. Pull all those out. I'm gonna do the length of the hook. swap hands. And then from on top, wrap one time, pinch, and then go ahead and they're not going to flare quite like elk hair would. But don't work your way all the way to the calf tail. You want to stop just before where the calf tail where you cut it off ends. And that's going to be where you tie in your elk hair. My fiance gave me a pretty bad cold a couple weeks ago. She's a nurse and works at the hospital. Oh, it's killing me. So now you're gonna bring in, this is bleached elk hair. Bleached, I mean really bleached. Don't just get like the cheap stuff that's bleached and to a kind of a tan color. You know, I like the stuff, when I'm tying my humpies, I want it to be bleached almost white. And you don't even really have to just stack this stuff. Just make sure all your butt ends are lined up. And that's not enough. Get a little more. You want to get a good pinch of fibers. Almost like if you were going to tie in a really small elk hair caddis. That's about the amount you want to get. You can see, like, that's about how much I got. It seems like a lot more than it actually is. Get all the short fibers out. The short fibers, just pinch these things so you cut them. So you cut all the fibers and you have all the ends lined up right here as best you can. Grab the long fibers at the very end and then just pull out all the short ones. And you'll be left with about, I'd say 2 dozen. And cut off these really brittle ends right here. So you want to cut them, the sharp ends, just cut those off. And so you're left with like that right there, and just kind of put it right in that little gap where you didn't tie your moose mane all the way. Do a couple little loose wraps all the way till you got them almost covered up, and then start tightening down. Now when you're wrapping back, just kind of hold all these together, and then, you know, might even want to give them a little bit of a twist, and just kind of, you know, you don't have to like touch turns, but just kind of really tighten them down right at the end right there. I like my humpies to have a nice little smooth taper. So see how, like on this one right here, how it's really skinny toward the back right there. It's really skinny and it gets that little fat middle section right here. That's what you're looking for. That's what makes a good humpy. But these are attractor patterns, and like the reason I like to tie these in wolf style or with a really heavy white wing of the calf tail wing is because I use these as my top fly when I use dropper. And now you can just keep wrapping, making wraps, which is nothing wrong with that. I just have the Norvise, so I like instead of, and some people will actually use instead of doing it like this, they'll just, you know, just do a bunch of thread wraps. That's fine. You can do that too. It doesn't really matter. This just saves me a bunch of wrist work and keeps me from getting carpal tunnel, which is why a lot of people, instead of doing a bunch of thread wraps, some people will use floss or silk or whatever. Oops, got a couple caught. Okay, there we go. And now just keep building that bulk right there in the middle. All in one spot. You want to make this fly almost look like it's about to have a baby. There we go. Okay. Now look at that taper. And that's what you're looking for. That's perfect. Now bring all these fibers up, and you kind of almost want to give them a little bit of a twist. And then right behind the wing, pull down, and then pinch the body. So like right here where the body is, you want to almost pinch it a little bit at the very top and just kind of hold it, and don't give, you know, don't let that thread tension have any looseness in it. You want to keep it tight, and do about 4 or 5 wraps, and then draw all that elk hair back, and then come in with your scissors Get down as close to that thread as you can. And then snip. If you miss some, just pull them off. Cool. That's all there is to it right there. I mean, you know, and traditionally you would actually use the elk hair. You would use the elk hair to make your wing, cover it up, and then fold back over. Or you would tie in the butt ends of the elk hair here, make your body, fold it over, and then post the wing up for your, you know, you'd post the sharp ends of the wing up, or the elk hair up for your wing. This is, I just like tying it this way. I think it's a lot easier. And then last but not least, you're gonna come in here with your this is a burnt furnace, or not burnt furnace, I'm sorry, furnace brown saddle hackle. It's a whiting silver saddle. You'll also use a cape, it doesn't really matter. And then just tie it in on the side, bring your wing back, tie in that stem all the way down. And there you go. And then come in. I don't like the way the hackle's sitting. If you tie your stem in too tight, sometimes you'll have these little loose fibers that come back. There we go. And just come in and hackle it pretty heavy. I hackle it a lot heavier than most people do, only because, once again, I use this fly right here as a dry fly for a dropper. Sometimes I'll drop midges off from the bottom of this, and then just come in and just wrap. And don't worry about all the, you can probably see on my fly. Let me move the camera over just a little bit. You can probably see how I'm kind of catching a bunch of fibers at the front of the fly. Don't worry about that. Just come with your thumbnail, or your finger, your fingernails, and pinch it. Pinch the eye of the hook and twist. It'll push them back, and then you come in here and draw all those fibers back. Sometimes you can't, and then we'll get you a half hitch tool if you have to, or if you can. No, just with the half hitch tool, hold your thread and spin. That'll push them back. There you go. Now you can draw them back, and then just give yourself 1, 2, 3 turns. That's all you need. And then get your half hitch tool. I hackle these things so heavy, sometimes it's almost hard to get them all back, but just keep trying, you'll get it. Come on, hook. There we go, that's better. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a great fly. All that elk hair really gives it a lot of buoyancy that you really, you wouldn't expect from a dry fly that's shaped like this in the standard size. Anyway, well, thanks for watching.